Good morning. It is the first weekend in June. It is in the mid 50s right now, and our high is going to be around 91 today. We reached 105 just a couple days ago, so the garden was a little in shock because that was our first day, truly over 100 degrees so far this year. Last year, I did a single color carpet of petunias. This year, I have 3 different colors going, and I planted later. As a result, some of them are not doing as well, and I've already had to go to the store and buy some replacements. But overall, I think the petunias are looking beautiful. Behind that is the Lyrical White Salvia I purchased last year, looking gorgeous. And behind that is the Echinacea purpurea that I started in January of 2024, and it is huge. Look at this. I mean, the tallest flower, this one right here, has got to be at least 4 feet tall. Behind the Echinacea on either side of my stone path are gladiolus, and right now I only have 1 spike. Last year they were in full bloom, so it's a little later. Not really sure why. It seems like it's been warmer, but they are going to be a beautiful addition with the coneflower. My first flush of the Atlas rose is done, and it is now currently budding up for its second flush of flowers. Also, an interesting thing, the lemon coral sedum from Proven Winners returned, and it is flowering. I didn't anticipate it having these pretty little star flowers on it. I'm not exactly sure how to manage them. I did cut some of them off, and I held off cutting off the remaining because I wanted to show you guys what it looked like. I am pleased to see that the Loropetalum has recovered from its shock. It's beautiful, and it's got some wonderful color variation on it. Really love the new growth is purple, the old growth is green, and it is supposed to be evergreen, and my plan is to tree form it. This one's going to get 5 to 6 feet tall and provide like another interesting structure element in the garden. I have talked a number of times about my beautiful lavender and how much I love it. You can see why I love it so much at this time of year. This row of 5 are gorgeous and already have honeybees on them. Actually, I don't know, bumblebees maybe? But as I've described before, this one and the third one are not doing well. They're just hidden right now in the absolute magnificence of the other 3 lavenders. Sticking with kind of the circle garden area, the Rose of Sharon and the Candy Corn Spirea seem to be doing pretty good. There are a few buds on the Rose of Sharon, so this is going to be a beautiful show. I had really hoped that this variegation in the leaves would go away when it got more sun, but it still has a really chartreuse color, which to me looks like it's not doing well. A lot of very, very light colored leaves and some dying leaves in it. So if you know anything about Rose of Sharon's, let me know, because I really thought moving it would be the answer to its health problems. The Candy Corn Spirea is no longer in bloom. I believe last year we still had some blooms, so now we just have the spent blooms on the plant. But overall, I am really happy with the structure that these 2 plants have brought to this space. And of course, although the Superbena has gone through its first flush, it came back from last year, so it definitely is a perennial, and about a month ago it was gorgeous. Right here on the other side of the Backcountry Road path is our pot. Last year was my attempt to put something really interesting, the Mint Julep Topiary, and it did not do well here. So this year I am using a Russian sage. hoping that maybe as this pot gets hotter and hotter, the Russian sage will thrive. And I just pulled the Russian sage from that grouping over there in front of the house and planted it here. My thought is that when this traditional Russian sage flops, it'll look like a cascade or a waterfall of flowers and color. As we move around the path around the Kona Bear Trail, we have a sunshine ligustrum, the bearded iris. This, I bought what I thought was a blue arrow juniper, and last year I had it bound at the suggestion of my local garden center, Great Acres, but it was not responding to that. So I went back and talked with someone, and we decided this is actually a Wichita blue juniper. So it is going to get much larger, and I need to work on moving more away from the plant so it has more room to open up. The yellow Del Oro daylilies are in full bloom right now and looking gorgeous. I go through regularly and deadhead so that they don't go to seed and they continue to bloom. I still have the orange rocket tied back, and I probably need to tie this orange rocket back because the water faucet is shrouded in the barberry, and you know, barberries are sticky or thorny. This is the Janed Gold Arborvitae that I transplanted this winter, and I think it's recovering. It still seems to be doing well. I don't see any new growth down here, so I'm not sure if it's just gonna grow back on the side that was still alive or if it's gonna recover in general, but we will see. It was worth trying to see if I could save the plant, because it'll be beautiful somewhere in the yard if I can. What else is new is I started some more white swan echinacea, and I planted 3 of them here. My hope is that they do really well. This spot might be a little too shady for this one, but that plant gets too big, and I wanted to have 3 in this area, so we'll see how well they do. And then earlier this year I transplanted the blue marble salvia, so I put them here, and I think they're doing much better than they were when they were on the other side of the tree. And this year I purchased 3 of the Playing the Blue salvias for this spot, so that when the lavender, somebody seems to be asleep. Anyway, I purchased Playing the Blue salvia so that when the lavender is out of bloom, I think these will look beautiful. We're gonna see how this little grouping of 3 does. I have a few foxgloves still blooming in the garden, but overall the foxglove is done. The Shasta daisies are looking gorgeous, and the pincushion flower is looking gorgeous. I normally have a whole bunch of foxglove going back here, but I think it got spider mites, so I pulled it out the moment I saw it, and this space will probably be blank for the rest of the summer, primarily because I'm planning to retool this bed and I need to thin all of the bearded iris, so this seemed like a good point to go ahead and pull it out. I did do the Linda Vodder method again this year, so I pulled some spikes off a few plants and I'm drying them in a paper bag to plant a little later in the year, and hopefully I'll have foxglove next year. The Pretty in Pink Eden Climbing Rose is pretty much done with its first flush of blooms. There's a few blooms left, but I've cleaned most of them off. There is some new growth on the plant right now, so I'm hoping to get a few second blooms, but generally from what I can tell, this plant doesn't have a really strong rebloom later in the season. As you can see, I still have projects going, but I finally got the new statement piece pot in place and just planted it up a couple days ago. The plant I had intended to have in here was a Sun Patient, but it just withered in the sun the very first day, so I realized this pot gets way too much sun in this spot. So I pulled it out and I shopped my garden and put this geranium as the centerpiece instead. The Nepeta has done its first flush and I need to cut it back. The Osteospermum has also finished its first flush of blooms. The White Swan Echinacea and the Green Jewel, I believe, are now blooming. I also planted 2 colors of petunias to grow into this space. I must have lost one maybe right here. I think I missed a spot. But overall, they're looking good, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this fills in. The flower box here is looking amazing. I did white petunias here again. This is the one holdover from last year, the Supertunia Mini Vista that came back. Other than that, and then I have Angelonia here. So it's looking pretty, and again, I planted a little late. And the dwarf Gara is looking amazing, and now that there are baby praying mantis in my yard, the aphids are under control. The one sweet pea seed has just taken over this obelisk. I am amazed at how much it has covered this space and has been producing beautiful. It was just one volunteer. I'm thinking a seed that didn't germinate last year germinated this year. Maybe it was too deep. It had time to form tons of roots. I don't know, but it has been doing phenomenally and shading out the clematis that I had planted here. So we'll see how it does when I have to take the sweet pea out when it's done for the season and it starts getting too hot. But I have enjoyed the beautiful color of all these plants. They're so scented. I love the scent of sweet peas. I've been making cute little arrangements, bouquets of sweet peas, and putting them on the table in the pavilion. So I purchased a Platinum Beauty Lamandra to put in this pot, which was in the square garden originally with a dianthus in it, and I had just kind of plopped it here as a test because it's still in its plant pot, and I'm really liking the structure it adds to this space, or the structure, the whimsy, not sure. Anyway, I'm really liking the way it looks, so I think I'm going to actually plant it in this pot. Along the east side of our house, I believe, where we only get the morning sun or sun until just after noon, I have a bunch of beautiful plants. I just transplanted a bunch of the maples from around my garden to see how many I could grow on, and I have a beautiful bunch of white begonias, the lemon cypress. The last of the blooms on my clematis are here. I think this is really interesting. These little Dr. Seuss-y kind of blooms. It's kind of fun to watch them develop. I don't know if I'm supposed to cut these off or not, but I'm really enjoying this plant. It does look like it's getting burned. My neighbor's window reflects at the end of the day onto this plant and can burn some of the plants over here. The hydrangea that I transplanted here is looking really good and flowering. I'm thrilled. I really wasn't sure it was going to survive, but it's looking beautiful right now. The limelight hydrangea, I have not seen much in the way of bud action yet, but this plant is huge. It hasn't even started blooming yet, and I would say that it is getting close to almost 6 feet tall. I'd say it's like 5'8", 5'9". So this thing is going to be massive. I know it can get up to 8 feet, so I'm going to have to be a little more aggressive with my pruning this next year because it's happy here, which I'm thrilled, but it is huge. The last plant I'm going to talk about is this Catalpa. I planted this, is it 2 years ago? I'm not sure, I'll have to look it up. It is looking beautiful. It's just finishing its first flush of blooms. And this year is the first year when it was in full bloom and it was hot that I noticed that it did have a scent. So I am really pleased with the plant. I still think I might move it to someplace a little more exposed, but I am really enjoying the plant, and it does have a very faint scent for me. And that's going to do it for my early June tour. Thank you for joining my garden journey.